Who was the earliest to attempt a scientific basis for classification of living organisms? A. Charles Darwin. B. Gregor Mendel. C. Aristotle. D. Louis Pasteur. The answer is C. Aristotle. Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a scientific basis for the classification of living organisms. He developed a system of classification based on observable characteristics and organized organisms into a hierarchy of groups. Aristotle's work laid the foundation for the study of taxonomy and biological classification. Which kingdom classification system included all plants and animals? A. Five-kingdom system. B. Three-domain system. C. Two-kingdom system. D. Six-kingdom system. The answer is C. Two-kingdom system. The two-kingdom system, proposed by Carolus Linnaeus, was one of the earliest classification systems and included only two kingdoms: Plantae, plants, and Animalia, animals. This system was based on the fundamental distinction between organisms that were mobile and could move, animals, and those that were immobile and could not move, plants. Which of the following characteristics were not considered in the two-kingdom system of classification? A. Cell structure. B. Habitat. C. Mode of nutrition. D. Evolutionary relationships. The answer is none of the above. Because the two-kingdom system of classification, proposed by Carolus Linnaeus, primarily relied on observable characteristics such as mobility and immobility, plants versus animals, and did not take into account evolutionary relationships. This system was based on a simplistic and superficial understanding of the diversity of life and did not consider more complex factors like cell structure, habitat, or mode of nutrition. As our understanding of biology and evolution advanced, later classification systems took these factors into account to create more accurate and comprehensive ways of categorizing living organisms. What was the major limitation of the two-kingdom system of classification? A. It did not distinguish between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. B. It did not distinguish between unicellular and multicellular organisms. C. It did not include photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic organisms. D. All of the above. The answer is D. All of the above. The major limitation of the two-kingdom system of classification was that it primarily divided organisms into two broad categories, plants and animals, based on their mobility and immobility, without considering other important characteristics such as cell structure, prokaryotic versus eukaryotic, habitat, mode of nutrition, and whether organisms were unicellular or multicellular. As our understanding of biology deepened, it became clear that this classification system was inadequate for representing the diversity of life. Which of the following characteristics were considered for the classification of living organisms over time? A. Nature of wall. B. Methods of reproduction. C. Evolutionary relationships. D. All of the above. Answer is D. All of the above. Over time, the classification of living organisms has considered various characteristics, including the nature of cell walls, methods of reproduction, and evolutionary relationships, among other factors. As our understanding of biology and the relationships between different species has advanced, classification systems have become more comprehensive and have taken into account a broader range of characteristics and criteria. What type of cells does the kingdom Monera have? A. Eukaryotic. B. Prokaryotic. C. Both eukaryotic and prokaryotic. Answer: B. Prokaryotic. The kingdom Monera is composed of prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells lack a distinct nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. They are typically smaller and structurally simpler than eukaryotic cells, which are found in organisms belonging to other kingdoms such as Plantae, Animalia, fungi, and some groups within Protista. Monera includes bacteria and cyanobacteria, formerly known as blue-green algae, which are examples of organisms with prokaryotic cells. Which kingdom has both autotrophic and heterotrophic modes of nutrition? A. Monera. B. Plantae. C. Protista. D. Fungi. Answer: C. Protista. The kingdom Protista includes organisms that exhibit both autotrophic, photosynthetic, and heterotrophic modes of nutrition. Protists are a diverse group of eukaryotic microorganisms that can produce their own food through photosynthesis, autotrophic, or obtain nutrients by consuming other organisms, heterotrophic. This kingdom encompasses a wide range of organisms, including algae, protozoans, and slime molds, which can vary in their nutritional strategies. Which kingdom has eukaryotic cells with cellulose cell walls? A. Animalia. B. Protista. C. Fungi. D. Plantae. Answer: D. Plantae. The kingdom Plantae consists of eukaryotic organisms with cellulose cell walls. Cellulose is a complex carbohydrate that provides structural support to plant cells. This characteristic sets plants apart from other kingdoms like Animalia, Protista, and fungi, which have different types of cell walls or lack cell walls altogether. Plantae includes a wide variety of plants, ranging from mosses and ferns to flowering plants, angiosperms. Which kingdom has tissues and organ systems? A. Monera. B. Protista. C. Plantae. D. Animalia. Answer: D. Animalia. The kingdom Animalia is characterized by the presence of tissues and organ systems. Animals are multicellular organisms with specialized cells organized into tissues, and tissues working together form organ systems that carry out specific functions within the body. This complexity in cell organization and specialization is a key feature that distinguishes animals from other kingdoms like Monera, Protista, and Plantae. Who proposed the five-kingdom classification system? A. Ernst Haeckel. B. Robert Whittaker. C. Carolus Linnaeus. D. Charles Darwin. Answer: B. Robert Whittaker. The five-kingdom classification system was proposed by Robert Whittaker. This system, introduced in 1969, categorizes living organisms into five main kingdoms. 1. Animalia. 2. Plantae. 3. Fungi. 4. Protista. 5. Monera. Each kingdom represents a distinct group of organisms based on their characteristics, and this system aimed to provide a more comprehensive framework for classifying the diversity of life compared to earlier systems like the two-kingdom system. What are the five kingdoms defined by Whittaker's classification system? A. Monera, Protista, fungi, plants, animals. B. Bacteria, Protista, fungi, plants, animals. C. Monera, bacteria, fungi, plants, animals. D. Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Answer: D. Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Which kingdom was created to differentiate between fungi and green plants? A. Monera. B. Protista. C. Fungi. D. Plantae. Answer: D. Plantae. The kingdom Plantae was created to differentiate between fungi and green plants. In earlier classification systems, fungi were often included as plants. However, the development of the Five Kingdoms system by Robert Whittaker in 1969 recognized the differences between fungi and green plants and placed them into separate kingdoms, fungi and plantae, respectively. This distinction acknowledged the unique characteristics and evolutionary relationships of these two groups of organisms. Which kingdom has both unicellular and multicellular organisms? A. Monera. B. Protista. C. Fungi. D. Plantae. Answer: B. Protista. The kingdom Protista includes both unicellular and multicellular organisms. Protists are a diverse group of eukaryotic microorganisms that vary in size, complexity, and mode of life. Some protists are single-celled, while others form multicellular structures. This diversity within the Protista kingdom is one of its defining features. Here are examples of organisms from the kingdom Protista. Amoeba, a unicellular protist that moves using pseudopodia, temporary extensions of its cell membrane, and engulfs food through phagocytosis. Paramecium, another unicellular protist that moves using cilia, hair-like projections, and feeds on bacteria and other small organisms. Euglena, a unicellular protist that can perform photosynthesis using chloroplasts and has a flagellum for movement. Volvox, a multicellular protist that forms spherical colonies and is capable of both photosynthesis and asexual reproduction. Kelp, a multicellular protist that belongs to the brown algae group and forms large underwater structures, similar to plants. These examples illustrate the diversity of protists, ranging from single-celled organisms to more complex multicellular structures with various modes of nutrition and locomotion. Which criteria influenced the classification system used by Whittaker? Cell structure, body organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, and phylogenetic relationships. B. Geographic location, body size, habitat, mode of transportation, and age. C. Color, shape, smell, texture, and taste. D. Population size, metabolic rate, lifespan, behavior, and communication. Answer: cell structure, body organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, and phylogenetic relationships. Whittaker's five-kingdom classification system took into consideration these factors to categorize living organisms into distinct groups based on their characteristics and evolutionary relationships. This approach aimed to create a more comprehensive and scientifically grounded system for classifying the diversity of life.